Are all those pesky bot sightings getting you down? Are you tired of competing with something that never sleeps? Are you exhausted of keeping up with the ever-rising price of arcane crystals on the WoW Classic auction house? Or have you just slash hooed Stratholm one too many times? Look no further, because I have the solution for you. But do remember, liking and subscribing may only be a small step for you, but it is a giant leap for my channel. So do consider clicking those buttons if you happen to get around to it. Where were we? Right. Maybe we can't beat bots, at least not without Blizzard's help. But we sure can join them, or have them join us for that matter. Enlist a squad of trusty bots, but have them work for you and you alone. All of that without cheating and in a legal gray area. How, you ask? Solocraft. Solocraft is a WoW private server aimed at taking the MMO out of MMORPG. For all those who are too old to maintain a large circle of friends, because, let's be real, socializing is a lot of work, even in an MMO. For those who have always wanted to find themselves a nice little T-boost blazing longsword, but whenever it dropped, all BOEs were reserved for the raid leader. Or for those like me who are used to being that BOE reserving raid leader guy, and thus really hate sharing. Host your own raids. Assemble a team of Avengers to take out Hogger with you without having to look for actual teammates. Because, let's be real, those only let you down in the past anyways. A simple click is enough, and you conjure a tank out of thin air. Just don't get used to the impeccable performance of your personal bot army, because let me tell you, humans will probably disappoint you after this. Ever wondered what it feels like to rampage through the lands in a squad of overgeared level 15s? Look no further. In all seriousness though, Solocraft is an interesting take on World of Warcraft. Any group challenge you wish to take on, you can do so with bots. You can also quest from 1 to 60 entirely in a team of bots, or solo play whenever it is convenient. The XP rates are free times, although I think they are adjustable somehow on the server, if that's too much for you. When I took a look at the server yesterday, there were about 60 people playing, and about 4 times as many bots. I was really surprised with their performance. Sometimes it's a bit funky, but for the most part, they are pretty solid. We only really had one hiccup when my male Night Elf tank decided to engage the full Reaper 4000 that's plaguing Westfall, and promptly got our healer killed. Rest in peace, my dear dwarf priest. However, apart from that, it was pretty good. To err is human, I suppose. To loot the full Reaper 4000 on level 14? Divine. Thank you, trusty Night Elf warrior tank bot. Now, you might think, isn't the social aspect what drags us into MMOs? Isn't an MMORPG without the MMO part just a really bad RPG? For the most part, yes. But after playing WoW for so long, experiencing it entirely at your own pace, without being beholden to hoping that a dungeon group might form, or trying to form one yourself without really finding people for it, only to call it off after waiting for several hours, who has time for that these days? Instead, just make your own friends, AI friends. The future is now, and it is looking rosy if you're willing to forego a little bit of social interaction with your fellow humans. I, for one, welcome our new AI overlords, and I cannot wait to assemble a team of them in full prebis to tackle any level 60 dungeon, bag all the loot myself, and build the ultimate character. Not satisfied? Well, you can also assemble a squad of 39 full tier 3 geared murder machines and tackle just about any 40-man raid you want, all by yourself. T-Boost Blazing Longsword coming your way shortly. That's not to say that Solocraft is just gonna be a steamroll. Your bots might be geared in what is pretty much best in slot, but they're still bots. Anyone that has ever tried to lead a raid will know coordinating your fellow players is most of the work. Getting them to do what you need them to do might be the biggest hurdle, and then also, of course, having them actually press their buttons. Looking at you, Autoshot Hunters. You interact with your bots via an add-on specifically made for this server, or alternatively, chat commands, which you can also turn into macros. You can have them pull, stack on you, wait, follow, AoE, CC, or focus a specific target. Anything you could imagine. On top of your own class's hotkeys, you will want to have at least some of this functionality bound to your keyboard or mouse. As far as I can tell, right-clicking an enemy sticks your party bots on the chosen target. Ironically, I have had more social interactions playing Solocraft alongside 50 hardened sociopaths in Solocraft Starter Guild than I have had in the last 2 years of Classic era. Some guy just rode up next to me and traded me heaps of runecloth. Enough to go onto the fully simulated and always well-stocked auction house without inflated prices and buy myself a greater magic wand. Wondering why I rolled mage? Me too, honestly. The guild chat was ripe with people asking for advice and others kindly answering. Even stuff that could have been easily Googled was answered patiently and benevolently, something which, honestly, kind of surprised me, seeing as I would have expected this server to cater more to loners than anything. From the conversations in guild chat, it seems as if there is a certain meta to level 60 raid encounters, which setup of bots to use, how to position them, which healing classes, etc. All that matters quite a bit. So I expect there will be a little bit of trial and error if I do actually make it to the 60 raids, and it won't just be a steamroll all the way through. Class stacking, obviously, is a thing without drawbacks. Since you won't have to gear anyone but yourself, you can finally fulfill your dreams of stacking 28 Fury Warriors and seeing what happens. What else is new? Oh right, you can compete for world bosses, which seem to be in high demand on Solocraft, or you can join automated BGs full of bots and finally unleash that tier 3 warlock in PvP, so to speak, that you have been dreaming of for the last 20 years. Professions are free to learn, meaning there is no limit on the amount of professions one character can have, which makes managing your inventory space pretty hard, but is still a nice touch. Well, what are you waiting for? If you can't beat them, join them. Enslave the bots and corrupt them to serve your own means, not some gold seller in any of the sites that shall not be named. I will admit that I'm not really sure what to make of Solocraft. I suppose it is the natural evolution of a game that has become more of a shared parallel space than a communal experience. GDQPs coexist with AoE boosts. Nobody really does anything but what is most beneficial and efficient for them. Low-level dungeons degenerate into absolute shit shows all too often with sweaty min-maxers on one side and lame dad gamers on the other. Superiority complexes seem to run rampant, and other players are not looked at for the potential shared experiences that they can provide, but for how badly they could potentially ruin our very own individual and very subjective way of enjoying the game, which often does not match with the enjoyment of our fellow players. In this sense, Solocraft was a long way coming, and it sure is a lot of fun, for a while at least. The novelty might wear off. Theoretically, you could also play Solocraft with friends. If you were a core of 5 to 10 people that enjoy playing with each other but have lost the will to host pugs or even manage a guild to get up to the 40 required people of doing classic dungeons, you can just fill the rest of those slots up with bots and go wild. I don't know. Either way, you should try Solocraft. It sure is something else. That much is evident. The bots will even ride the subway with you, unless most of my friends who always insist we get a super expensive cab. With that being said, this has been a brief look at Solocraft, and I might bring you more of this as I progress through the levels and maybe even hit up a raid eventually. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that the last upload has been a while. I will try to make it more regular from now on out, but I was just sort of enjoying the death rows of the summer, and as that fades out, I will be home more and I will be making videos more. So thank you for sticking around for as long as you have, and I hope to see you again very soon.